The Bureau of Land Management made several announcements here in Washington, D.C. last week in preparation for Earth Day. And one of those items was the agency's final conservation and landscape health rule that reimagines the agency's requirements to manage lands for multiple uses, including livestock grazing.
Seems like they take the attitude of we're with the government, trust us, we're gonna do it right, and we would like to trust but verify.
Ranchers feeling uneasy about the rule and its announcement that came as cattle and sheep producers participated in the Public Lands Council and National Cattlemen's Beef Association legislative conferences in Washington, D.C. Now called the Public Lands Rule, it could impact all aspects of multiple use on BLM land.
What we're seeing is threefold. First is this concept of a new leasing agreement. It's this conservation umbrella that was outlined in the first draft rule has now been split into our restoration leases and their mitigation leases. Still, the BLM does not have explicit authorization from Congress to do a new leasing program, to authorize a new use of public lands. And so we're not seeing those concerns addressed in the final rule. The second part of the rule continues to be concerning. The ACEC, the areas of critical environmental concern, continue to be a restrictive tool, things to take management off of the landscape, a designation that the BLM can use, and circumventing public engagement in that process is a huge problem for us. The third part of the rule is generally encouraging. For a long time, producers, permittees have been asking the BLM to not hang all of the impacts on federal lands that a variety of uses have on the back of grazing permittees. It's a little wonky, but the grazing regulations require you to do land health assessments. They only look at grazing interactions with the landscape, regardless of recreation or of any other use. Now, BLM is applying those across the landscape. That's a good thing, but really the only management tool that they have to adjust on the landscape continues to be grazing. And so what's absolutely imperative is that as this provision moves forward, we're looking at something that's more successful implementation. How do you control other uses? What other tools is the BLM going to develop to make sure that grazing still doesn't bear an outsized burden? The short version here, Lane, is that we saw the final rule. All of our concerns, although the text looks a little bit different now, all of our concerns are really moving forward in this final rule. And so as we dive deeper into this lengthy text, we're going to be taking a hard look at some of the most concerning pieces.
For more on the BLM's new landscape health rule, visit westernagnetwork.com.